Hello students, in the previous lecture we studied Rao-Blackwell theorem. We also proved the theorem and we noticed that the Rao-Blackwell theorem gives us a method to construct a better unbiased estimator of a parametric function. So let us now try to understand it better through examples. So suppose we have a random sample from Poisson distribution with mean theta. Then the question is to find minimal sufficient statistic denoted by m for theta and an unbiased estimator T1 for e raised to minus theta, and then we are going to Rao-Blackwellize T1 with respect to m. That is, we are going to find the conditional expectation of T1 given m. So now in order to find this conditional expectation, we are going to need the conditional distribution of T1 given m. So to find the conditional distribution of T1 given m, let us first write down the joint PMF of Xi. So the joint PMF of Xi is this product of the marginal distribution of Xi. So now suppose T1 is an unbiased estimator of psi theta. So how can we construct an unbiased estimator? So notice that this e raised to minus theta is nothing but the probability that x1 is equal to 0, and so this being a event x1 equal to 0, so this parametric function simply can be an indicator, an unbiased estimator of this kind of parametric function can be simply an indicator function like this. So suppose t1 takes value 1 if x1 is equal to 0, and it takes value 0 otherwise, means when x1 is not equal to 0, it is going to take the value as 0. So notice that T1 depends only on x1. It does not involve other random variables. So in short, T1 can be written as indicator function of x1 is equal to 0. So expectation of T1 will be probability that x1 is equal to 0, which is psi theta here. Now we also need the minimal sufficient statistic. So we have already done this, that Poisson belongs to one parameter exponential family, and so summation kxi, which is here summation xi, is going to be minimal sufficient statistic. Also the same statistic can be obtained through likelihood equivalence. So I have mentioned here that likelihood equivalence gives the summation xi as minimal sufficient statistic. Now let us try to find the conditional expectation. So this conditional expectation will be simply 1 into probability that x1 is equal to 0 given m equal to m, plus 0 into probability that x1 is not equal to 0 given m equal to m. So this second term is automatically 0. So this expectation is simply probability that x1 is equal to 0 given summation xi is equal to m. This summation should be from 1 to n, not 1 to m. This summation should be from 1 to n. So now this conditional probability will be simply joint probability upon marginal probability. So let us now try to simplify the joint probability. Since right now these two are not independent events, since x1 is in here and x1 is involved here as well. So in order to write this intersection of the events as intersection of disjoint events, so that we can separate them, we can use this information that x1 is equal to 0 and accordingly write the sum of the rest of the random variables. So this probability can be written as probability that x1 is equal to 0, and now so the summation of the rest of the random variables, so I goes from 2 to n, will be still m. So right now the first, suppose this is event A and this is event B. So right now this A is and B are independent events, and so you can write them as this joint probability as product of marginal probabilities, means probability of A into probability of B. So probability of x1 is equal to 0 into probability that summation xi from 2 to n is equal to m, and the denominator will be like this. Now this is going to follow because n minus 1 Poisson random variables are involved. So this will be Poisson with mean n minus 1 times theta, whereas the random variable involved in the denominator, that is summation xi from 1 to n, this is going to follow Poisson with parameter n theta. So accordingly the probabilities can be written. So the first term will be simply e raised to minus theta, and the second term will be like this, and the denominator will be like this. So e raised to minus, if you combine these two exponential terms, you get e raised to minus n theta, which gets cancelled with this e raised to minus n theta. Then theta raised to m gets cancelled with this theta raised to m factorial gets cancelled, and finally what you get is n minus 1 upon n raised to m. So this phi1 m is simply n minus 1 by n raised to capital M. So that is nothing but summation xi. So this is the unbiased estimator obtained by Rao-Blackwellizing T1 with respect to M. Now let us consider, for a better understanding, let us consider one more example. This was a discrete setup. Now let us consider a continuous setup. So suppose xi's are IID normal theta1 random variables. So first let us take psi theta is equal to theta. T1 and M are provided to us. So T1 is to be taken as x1, M is to be taken as x bar. So now in order to Rao-Blackwellize T1, the question is Rao-Blackwellize T1 with respect to n and obtain phi1m. So to obtain this, we are going to need the conditional distribution of x1 given x bar. So to find the conditional distribution, first we need the joint distribution of x1 and x bar. So how can we find the joint distribution of x1 and x bar? Let us see how it can be done. We know the marginal distribution of T1 as well as the marginal distribution of x bar. So T1 follows normal distribution with parameters theta 1, x bar follows normal distribution with parameter theta 1 by n. So what we have is two normally distributed random variables which are definitely not independent. X1 is definitely not independent of x bar. So now recall a property from normal distribution, that the property says that if suppose z1, z2, zn are marginally normally distributed random variables, then and if every linear combination of zi's is again follows normal distribution, then the joint distribution of z1, z2, zn is again normal, n-variate normal distribution. So in this case, if we can prove that every linear combination of x1 and x bar follows normal distribution with positive variance obviously, then joint distribution of x1 and x bar is bivariate normal with mean vector as expectation of x1 and expectation of x bar, and variance covariance matrix as the variance covariance matrix as usual. So let us try to see if every linear combination of x1 and x bar follows normal distribution or not. So let us take two real numbers L1 and L2. So consider L1 x1 plus L2 x bar. So now both are marginally normally distributed. So the linear combination will be normal. So will be normal under if we get if we do not get any restriction on the mean or the variance. So let us consider expectation of L1 x1 plus L2 x bar. So it is L1 theta plus L2 theta, which is L1 plus L2 times theta. So see, no matter what are the values of L1, L2, as long as L1, L2 are real, this expression holds. Similarly, consider variance of L1 x1 plus L2 x bar. So it will be L1 square variance of x1 plus L2 square variance of x bar plus twice L1, L2 covariance between x1 and x bar. Now what will be the covariance? So the covariance between x1 and x bar will be, substitute the variances. Now the covariance between x1 and x bar will be same as the covariance between x1 and x1 by n, because notice that x bar can be written as x1 by n plus x2 by n plus x3 by n and so on. So now x1 is independent of x2, x3, x4 and onwards. So the rest of the terms do not matter when you consider the covariance between x1 and x bar. So that's why this covariance will be simply the covariance between x1 and x1 by n. So how much will be the covariance between x and x by something, x and c times x? It will be c times variance of x. So this covariance will be simply 1 by n variance of x1. And so if you substitute the values, finally you get variance of x bar like this, L1 square, sorry, variance of L1 x1 plus L2 x bar like this. It is L1 square plus L2 square by n plus twice L1 L2 by n. So thus again see, this variance is not going to be 0. It will be 0 only if L1 and L2 are 0. So what we expect here is that as long as both L1, L2 are not zeros, means if one of them can be 0, it is okay. But as long as both L1, L2s are not 0, we should get the variance positive. That is the only condition needed here. So this is happening here. Unless you take both L1, L2 to be 0, you are not going to get the variance to be 0. For all other values of L1 and L2, the variance is going to be positive. So the expectation is there and the variance also exists. And so one can conclude that L1 times x bar plus L2 times x bar follows normal distribution with mean this and variance this for every L1, L2 in the real line. So for all real valued L1, L2, the linear combination of x1, x bar follows normal distribution, and hence the joint distribution of x1 and x bar is a bivariate normal distribution with mean vector as this theta, because both of them have expectation theta. So theta theta. And now what will be the variance covariance matrix? So the first diagonal element will be variance of x1, the second diagonal element will be variance of x bar, and the off diagonal element will be covariance between x1 and x bar. So x1 x bar has joint distribution like this, and so the conditional expectation, so because the joint distribution is normal, so the conditional distribution you can obtain easily. So the conditional distribution of x1 given x bar is again normal with mean x bar and variance as 1 minus 1 by n. So the conditional expectation of x1 given x bar is again x bar, and so phi1 of m is x bar. So I hope you have noticed something here. Notice that x bar is a minimal sufficient statistic and x bar itself is unbiased for theta. And so even though we try to Rao-Blackwellize an unbiased estimator of theta with given x bar, because x bar itself is a unbiased estimator, so we ended up with x bar itself. So this is an interesting part of this question. Was that the case when we start in the earlier example? Was that the case? No, because there the minimal sufficient statistic was not unbiased estimator of e raised to minus theta, isn't it? M summation xi was minimal sufficient for theta. So that was not minimal sufficient. So that this M was not an unbiased estimator of theta. So that's why we didn't get T1 of T1 given M as simply M. But whereas here, when you consider expectation of T1 given M, you got the statistic M itself. And why did it happen? This happened because phi1 of M is bound to be a function of M. Now, if M itself is an unbiased estimator, then what else are you going to get? You are bound to get M itself here after Rao-Blackwellizing it. So, there is a result related to this which we will prove in the coming lectures. But do remember this, that if M itself is an unbiased estimator of psi theta, then you are bound to get phi1m as M. So now let us consider one more interesting question and then we will stop. So suppose now this exponential case we haven't discussed before. So suppose xi's are exponential random variables with mean theta. So the distribution will be, PDF will be 1 by theta e raised to minus x by theta. Now suppose psi theta is a survival function computed at point x naught. It also means reliability of an item whose lifetime follows exponential distribution with mean theta at point x naught. So it is simply probability that x is greater than x naught. So now we have to find an unbiased estimator. So it is provided to us. So suppose T1 of x bar is like this, indicator function of x1 greater than x naught. Then we have to show that T1 is an unbiased estimator of psi theta, and we have to Rao-Blackwellize T1 with respect to summation xi. So two things we have to do. First, show that T1 is unbiased estimator of psi theta, which is really straightforward, and then Find the conditional expectation of T1 given T. So let us see how it can be done. So consider, so ultimately we are going to need the conditional distribution of T1, which is going to be again function of x1 alone. Notice that even if we say T1 of x, vector x, only x1 is involved in T1. So basically T1 of x is actually T1 of x1. So now let us consider the joint PDF of xi's, so that we can use this to get the joint PDF of T1 and summation xi, and then from that we will get the conditional PDF of T1 given summation xi. So let us first consider joint PDF of xi's. It will be like this, following the exponential form. So now T1 of x is 1 if x1 is greater than x0 and 0 otherwise. So the expectation of T1 will be simply probability that x1 greater than x0, which will be e raised to minus x0 by theta, which is psi theta for every theta greater than 0. And so T1 is an unbiased estimator of psi theta. This part is very obvious. So now let us consider the sufficient statistic, minimal sufficient statistic, which is summation xi. So now we want to find the conditional distribution of T1 given T. So to find the conditional distribution, first we will find the joint distribution of T1 and T. Now to find the joint distribution of T1 and T, we need to do a lot of things. So what are those things? So see, it is not easy to find the joint distribution of x1 and summation xi, because summation xi also involves x1. So what can be done? How can we find the joint distribution of x1 and summation xi from 1 to n? Now because x1 is involved in the summation also, so they are not independent random variables. So what can be done? Unless they are independently distributed, we cannot write the joint distribution. No? We don't have any formula the way we had for normal case. We don't have any result for exponential setup. So it means that we must adjust the random variables involved in this discussion, so that ultimately we deal with a pair of random variables which are independently distributed. So what can be that pair which is independently distributed and which can be used to ultimately get the joint distribution of x1 and summation xi from 1 to n? So the trick lies here. I have tried to explain it as much as possible. So consider summation xi. I can split it as x1 plus summation xi going from 2 to n. Now let us call this as y1, this sum as y1. Then summation xi is simply x1 plus y1. Now xi's are IID exponential random variables. So y1 is going to follow gamma distribution, because y1 involves n minus 1 exponential random variables. So y1 will follow gamma distribution with parameters n minus 1 and 1 by theta. And this x1 and y1, because y1 involves x2, x3 and so on. So x1 and y1 will be independently distributed. And so you can write the joint PDF of x1, y1 as the product of marginal distributions of x1 and y1. So the joint PDF will be gx1, y1 theta will be gx1 theta, gy1 theta. And so now this will be the marginal PDF of y1. So this is how the product, means the joint distribution, will be. Now we don't want joint distribution of x1 and y1. We want joint distribution of x1 and summation xi from 1 to n, which is basically x1 plus y1. So from the joint distribution of x1, y1, we can find the joint distribution of x1 and x1 plus y1. So suppose u1 is x1 and v1 is x1 plus y1. Then using the Jacobian method, we will find the joint distribution of u1 and v1. Here the Jacobian, as you can notice easily, here the Jacobian of transformation is 1. So the joint PDF will be, just substitute x1 as u1 and y1 as v1 minus u1. So you will get the PDF like this: 1 by theta e raised to minus u1 by theta, then 1 by theta raised to n minus 1, 1 by gamma n minus 1, that will remain. This exponential term will be now like this, and y1 raised to n minus 2 will be v1 minus u1 raised to n minus 2. Now try to simplify this. So you get this e raised to minus u1 by theta and this e raised to plus u1 by theta. They cancel out each other, and then you get 1 by theta raised to n here, then 1 by gamma n minus 1. e raised to minus v1 by theta and v1 minus u1 raised to n minus 2. Now one common error which can happen here is we will forget to notice that u1 is always going to be less than or equal to v1. Why? Because v1 is addition of two non-negative random variables where u1 is involved. In fact, v1 is u1 plus y1 and y1 is a non-negative random variable. So u1 is always going to be less than or equal to v1. And so when you write the range of this PDF will be valid only for those UIs, only for that u1 v1 where u1 is less than v1. Otherwise, the PDF will be 0. So this part is important and should not be forgotten. So let us consider this. So I hope you have understood this. So the range of u1 will be from 0 to v1 and the range of v1 is 0 to infinity. So this way you can look at this. So now we want the conditional distribution of u1 given v1. So we already have marginal distribution of v1. The marginal distribution of v1 is nothing but the distribution of summation xi going where I goes from 1 to n. Now that will be gamma with parameters n and 1 by theta, and so the marginal PDF will be like this. So the conditional PDF now will be the ratio of these two. So 1 by theta raised to n will get cancelled. E raised to minus v1 by theta will get cancelled. And this, so finally the conditional PDF will be this gamma n will go to the numerator. Gamma n minus 1 will be there in the denominator. This term v1 raised to n minus 1 will be there in the denominator and this will be in the numerator, where the range of u1 is now from 0 to v1 because this is a conditional PDF. So this is how the conditional PDF of u1 given v1 will look like. Further, you can simplify this because n, you know, n is an integer. So you can write this as gamma n as n minus 1 times gamma n minus 1, and so this will be simply n minus 1 times v1 minus u1 raised to n minus 2 upon v1 raised to n minus 1. So the probability that x1 greater than x0 given summation xi from 1 to n equal to t will be simply integration of the conditional PDF given v1 is equal to m. So the upper limit of this integration will be x0, the limits of this integration will be x0 to t and not infinity. So I have corrected this now. So this should be t. And so the integration will be like this. And so finally, if you go on solving this, you get ultimately the estimator as, or the conditional expectation as t minus x0 by t raised to n minus 1, which can be further rearranged like this, 1 minus x0 by t raised to n minus 1. So this is the Rao-Blackwellized version of t1 given t1 with respect to t. So 1 minus x0 by t raised to n minus 1. This is an unbiased estimator of psi theta with variance lesser than the estimator t1.